Hello everyone, we are here to meet Professor Sudharani Raghupathy, Bharatanatyam exponent, choreographer and guru at her old world bungalow in Chennai's Mylapore. This is the house where for the past 60 years she's quietly been balancing life and art. She's recently been chosen for the Sangeet Natak Academy Fellowship, an award that honors a lifetime's work as an artist. A celebrated performer, she's known for her eloquent abhinaya and immaculate technique. Early on in life, she realized the need to expand her creative horizons and went on to train in the Martha Graham technique in the US. With her insightful lecture demonstrations, she continues to shape the way dance should be viewed and learned. Hello and namaskaram.
Namaskaram, Chitra.
Let's start talking about awards.
Awards.
You come from a time where awards were not actively sought. You focused on the work and recognition followed. With this fellowship coming after decades of work, how do you look at it as an artist and as someone who has seen the art form evolve?
That is a tough question, but very intelligent indeed. I think this Academy Ratna is my faith in the lineage of the Tanjo Quartet, Guru Shishya Parampara, of which I am a part of it. It is a reaffirmation of my faith in the Tanjo Quartet. That's how I place it. And to me, I think it gives me greater responsibility. That is, the younger generation, we have technological advance, and I have to be really careful in what I say because this generation, they're so brilliant and they have access to such a lot of things which we never had, not even a photograph. And so I think basically what I would like to say is I'm only a link in the tradition and culture of this great nation. That is all. All of us are links, eternal links, and I'm only one link of that.
In case if I ask you, how would you express the happiness in being chosen for the award through Abhinaya? How would you do it?
The happiness, but the responsibility. I have to be responsible to the award. I am proud. Yes, I agree. But it is not just me, because one artist can do nothing. It's a whole band of people. For me to dance, particularly on the stage as a solo, it involves not just me, but the orchestra, the stage, the light, the audience, but whatever the artist performs for the audience.
That's very nice. You were the first Indian at the Randolph-Macon Women's College in Virginia, studying world history of dance, studio arts, and of course the Martha Graham technique. You could have fused Eastern and Western styles, which could have easily set you apart in the world of Indian classical dance, which most artists are doing now, sadly without being trained in Western technique. But you preferred to imbibe certain aspects of ballet and modern dance without it overtly coming through in your Bharatanatyam performance. What shaped this decision?
The Martha Graham technique itself, modern dance, is a breakaway from the traditional ballet where they use the ballet shoes and the toes. And so that itself was a breakaway. But basically, I had to train in the steps of ballet for the 5 different positions. And now this is where what we already know, I was given an intellectual approach to the whole situation that was Martha Graham. I found when we were doing the exercises, the breath control and the whole thing was based on yoga, which our ancients had already given. So it was just very simple. I said, oh my God, I never knew all this because I was very young. And we already knew about all that. And today we are talking of yoga and breath control and everything. It was already there, already here. And I think it is very important that there was no need for me to fuse anything because the body automatically reacted. The styles in India, as well as in the world, they change according to the environment, the ambience, and the basics in that particular region. That is why we have so many classical styles. We have the Terukutu and the folk, and then the dance productions. So this variety is so beautiful when you study the world history of dance, where you're able to accept and certain things you recognize because of the way it is produced. Like Bharatanatyam, for example, it is Adavu system. They're all Adavus. And they're all given, and Tulaja Maharaja has given the list of all the Adavus. And the Tanjore quartet, they used it in such a way, they gave the Margam, what we do today. It's called the Bharatanatyam Margam. So I found it was all one, as Abhinava Gupta in his commentary writes, the whole thing is one. It's a whole all the time, but the variety is there. So that has no religion, no race, no nothing, it's all one. The way we express, well, the only thing I have to say is the audience has to accept it. The only thing is, well, if the audience feels bored, then I'll have to work on it again. So that is the only place where we artists have to be very correct in the way we do it, because they decide. And the memory of the audience is so short, the people, that they forget. What happened yesterday, they forget. It is not only an entertainment, it is also an entertainment, but they take back something from it. That's what our art is. You have to take back something with you, remember something. So we have to be aware, every artist, of what she's saying. The I has to be there, because otherwise we won't dance. If I collapses, the ego, little bit of ego that we have, we will collapse. But we have to have it. But we have to be very much aware of what is required. If the audience doesn't like it, so it's a very big responsibility. And growing old and maintaining everything is not easy, because everything counts, every bit. From eating, sleeping, walking, standing, dressing, speaking, it's all part of our culture. And an artist, to be what she is, to express herself, has to be very balanced and be there all the time, be there at that point all the time.
You know, Bharatanatyam has gone through its many shifts in the past few decades. Are you optimistic about a future where there'll be space for authenticity?
Well, what is authenticity? Because it has survived thousands of years, so why will it not survive for the next thousands of years more? In fact, all these machines might add to it. Now, this question has triggered a thought with me, because one of the very veteran dancers in our country, she said in a few years' time there'll be AI, exactly a replica of all of us, each one of us. And they'll be able to give the permutation and combination of all that. But I have a question there. When we improvise a padam or abhinaya, can the AI reproduce it? Because we are using it on the spot, on the stage, at that moment. Because the audience has to give us the inspiration. And so, what is wrong? How will you do it?
True, that's true.
AI does everything. I agree. Agreed. Millions, you feed it with so many permutation and combination. But we might go beyond that, because it's our brain, the human brain that God has created. And at that particular moment, can the AI improvise? Because we are improvising immediately like that. We don't even know what we are doing at that point of time, because the musicians do not know how many times to sing. That is art, where you go beyond just counting of 1 and 2 and 3 and
Also, we have been witnessing troubling trends in Bharatanatyam. First and foremost being the complete commercialization of Arangetram. You know, now teachers just come up with numbers like which are insane numbers, 500, 600, 700, so many Arangetrams. And parents are spending lavishly on a simple but important ritual of a young performer going up the stage for the first time. Then there is the quick transition from a dancer to a choreographer. Expressions are becoming more cinematic, mixed movements in repertoire pieces. So, how do you look at it?
Why not? Why not? It is only when you go on doing the same thing over and over and over again, you perfect it at some point of time. Perfection, I don't mean correct. Correct angles. I mean all the adavus, the nritta part of dance has to be perfect. It has to be good because we have parallels and circles and arcs and perfections, Saustavam of the body. Everything is there. But it all has to be there. They're all experimenting now. Why not? Let them do it. But there will come a stage when when they themselves realize what it is to do. That is, after all, it is communication. It is what are you communicating? Then the mind starts thinking, what are you giving? You want popularity, you want awards, you want fine, take it. But what are you giving which they will remember? That is the artistic quality of our thing, I think. It's all over the world because I've done modern dance too, and I've performed modern dance on the stage too, everything. We are give by for appreciation, goodness. It is so positive in vibration that it cannot bring in any negatives when you dance because Nataraja himself is complete positive movement.
Also, in the past few years, we keep hearing about how dancers from upper caste, particularly those who have trained under revered Natwana, have hardly acknowledged or recognized the contribution of the hereditary community that has actually given the dance form its structure and repertoire. What do you have to say on this?
Well, I've learned from Nataraja too. And when I go back in my training, it goes back to 1948, 49, 50, 51. And Tata, Padanallur Meenakshi Sundarapalli Tata was alive in the 1950s and 51. I know him, I met him. I was a child, I was much younger, of course. And Kittappa Pillai, now Nattuvanars never actually got up, danced and showed us anything. They would sit. Now, my goodness, it is like a usually, Kittappa Pillai was a musician basically, and then only a Nattuvanar. Because music is part of the dance, and dance is visual of the music. Now, when it comes to that, they would just say the meaning because in the Tanjavur quartet, as you know, there was Telugu, Marathi, Nirupana Guchas in Marathi, and the Telugu, most of the Varnams, and then there's Tamil, and then there is Sanskrit because Swati Chandal was involved in it. And a little bit of Kannada also because Chinnaya, one of the Tanjavur quartet, was in the Mysore court. So we have everything. We had to read also. We had to have experience and study, and we have all our sculptures and all our paintings and all our frescoes and all the figures, and naturally the everyday life that we go through, because part of our life, everything in India is so much part of life itself. Initially, many years ago, decades, hundreds of years ago, it was the temples, and they met. It was offered as one of the Shoda Upasaram to the deity, 64 offerings. So dance was one of them. So it was part of the temple ritual. And there were these Oduvars, Nattuvanas were Oduvars originally, and where they had Thiruvachakam and all the various Saivite things in the Saivite temples. And then the old who have the Ariyar Seve of in the Vaishnavite tradition. By the grace of God, I've had the privilege to do both Ariyar Seve research, and of course a part of our tradition was the Navasandhi, which was done at the Brihadishwara temple in Tanjore, which has been documented already many years ago. It was documented 45, 50 years ago. So all this is so much part of it, and my experience, the last 77 years of my life on the stage, I have seen no discrimination at all. As I said, the audience has to accept me. Even if I am the highest caste or the lowest caste or the highest strata of society or lowest strata of society, if the people don't accept, I go into oblivion. That's how so many dance forms have gone into oblivion because people never bothered about it. And I suppose in those days when the British ruled, they also contributed and calling us Nach and Nach girls. And then there was the Sadir and Koppademan Koil, which I performed. It's only a small, Sadir is only a small piece of flag, the Mandapam. And when I danced there before, I've seen the Koppademan Koil, Devadasis perform. The Tattumettu Adavu in Bharatanatyam, one of them is Tattumettu. That is Takkita. Suppose we take one Adavu, Takkita or Takkatakita, it doesn't matter. Takkita is beats of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. this jewel here would take the talam. And I said, oh my God. But in those days, where was the usi or the needle and thread to tie it up there and tie it up here and costuming? They just tied that thing and danced. And I met many Devasasis in my life because my grandmother and all of them in Uthukudi and different Tamil Nadu, Kumbakonam, especially Kumbakonam, Tivalaputtur sisters, many, I'm talking of 75, 80 years ago. I was very, very young. And they knew more than the geisha girls of Japan. The geisha is supposed to do everything in life, right? Oh my God. If someone can do research on that, I'm too old now. So. But they knew everything that we are doing now. Now the cosmetics are not has come, but then where was the cosmetics? Yeah. At home they would do with that flower, Nandi Batlut's called as a, just put it. So it was a complete different experience. But we have evolved and all these machines help us to take it forward. And why not? That's my argument. I don't think anything will be lost. Nothing is lost. Nothing is lost.
So, what about the caste and axis being re-examined in the contemporary discourse on classical art?
Caste.
Caste.
That has no meaning to me. I've never thought about it in my family, either the last 150 years of my family heritage I have. We have never thought about all that. And there was no chance. I mean, the only thing is I didn't have so much material that I have in the sense like photographs or there were no photographs. I'm not able to, I can prove something, yes, with my papa photo and all that stuff. With a box camera taken at home. Somebody sent it to me. But otherwise, I don't believe in all this caste issues. I'm a student of philosophy, by the way, and sociology. I was my major in college. And when I look at that, caste was maybe 300, 400, maybe 300 years old or something. When you go back 1,000 years, 2,000, there was no caste. It was just work. Now they take me an artist, I'm an artist, fine. If someone is doing embroidery, oh, she's an embroidery artist. If someone is doing tailoring, she's a tailoring artist. Someone does pottery, it's pottery. So that became secluded, as compartmentalized, and so it became caste. It has no meaning to me as far as I'm concerned.
One last question. If given an option, would you like to be a performer today with all the opportunities and visibility, or you'd be glad to have belonged to an earlier time?
I was given a question, choose. If Brahma said, why don't you choose what you want now? Or I'll give you anything you want. I'll give you youth, I'll give you beauty, I'll give you money, I'll give you power, I'll give you position. What would you choose? I think today, at the age of 82, I'd rather convey all this through my face so that I have to be given the eyes, which is the mirror of the soul, to express and communicate the idea of compassion, love. In spite of all the emotions that play in the world, I think it's very important. I'm quite happy as I am, but I would like to share the love of the art. We do have our petty jealousies, we have all that is there, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. But I think we should be able to face it. And that's the experience that has given me now. You must be able to appreciate something good. It can be anything. Because we do have a very great artistic tradition going back to thousands of years. There's no change in that at all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Sudharani Raghupathy.